Well, we are live now. Greetings, this is Lowell, host of the Mastermind Hangout called Being Your Own CEO. And this is our Embrace Aging series. Over the past months, Sue and Nancy and I have been exploring various topics that explore just how we do embrace aging. Last time we looked at ways to create new income, and while on the subject of defining financial contentment, we suggested, it came up, that good health is probably our very most valuable asset. So, we started thinking about that and thinking about it, and as we think, many of us have lived very busy, stressful lives, raising a family, having a very busy career, taking care of parents, and having a life. And given that, we may not have paid a lot of attention to our health. It was, when we were younger, it was very easy to take that for granted. But now we wonder if that lifestyle has taken a toll on us. And we wonder whether it's too late. And of course, the three of us stand for the fact that it is never too late. And so we want to have some discussion this evening about, some of the things that we could pay attention to. So that's where we're going. And next, I would really like us to introduce ourselves. So Sue, tell us a little bit about yourself and what you're up to.
Well, my name is Sue Ferreira. I've been a physician for over 40 years, and I've transformed my life into basically being an entrepreneur and creating a program called Live Your Retirement Dream, showing folks how to take their knowledge, their skills, their wisdom, brain dump it, and then turn it into packages that other people will be interested in, that they will buy, so you can benefit others and you can enjoy your retirement dream as well.
Right on. So welcome, Sue.
Thank you.
And Nancy, how would you like to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about what you're up to?
Well, I'm a holistic practitioner, and at this point I'm offering transformation programs. I'm a transformation specialist, inspiring and supporting women as they rediscover their brilliance. Through empowerment, they gain clarity, vibrant health, and soul nourishment as they manifest their life's purpose.
Wow. Well, and I might introduce myself. I quite often forget to do that. So tonight I'm not going to forget to do that. So in my work style, lifestyle coaching work, I just love helping solo entrepreneurs find direction and stay motivated and build systems that support and promote their business. And one support that I really like to emphasize for them is the Google Plus experience. Two great places to begin are my Mastermind Hangout, Being Your Own CEO, and a three-part beginners Google for Business workshops, which you can find either on my website or you can go to Eventbrite. So I think it's now time for us to dive into the subject. So, tell us what is one of the most important things to focus on to build and maintain your good health. What's the one most important thing?
Well, I'll pick this up. Of course, there's more than one. Of course, there's many, which Sue will also speak to. But for myself, as a holistic nutritionist, I find that one of the most important basic building blocks of health, of course, is diet. A natural diet based on live, natural, good quality food from the outside of the grocery store, avoiding the packages on the inside. If you have fresh, natural ingredients, they're easy to prepare, and provide your body with the nutrition that they need for the most part.
Good nutrition. Anything else? What would you say you think is the most important, Sue?
Me? Well, I think Nancy's absolutely right. I think you're both right. Nutrition is hugely important. It's kind of entertaining because we've got me here, the conventional physician, and we've got Nancy, who is a holistic practitioner, and we're always going backwards and forwards, and it sometimes gets entertaining. But one thing I have seen over my 40-plus years in medicine before I slid out is a massive increase in obesity, which is basically not eating good food. And I think most physicians and nurses and everything else know that eventually obesity has the potential to kill our healthcare systems. The costs are so huge. So not only is Nancy right personally that good nutrition is a key, but for us as a society it's a key, because I tell you, if the costs and the complications of morbid obesity are so huge that they really are going to be a huge challenge in the next 20 to 30 years. So although there's a lot of other stuff that we'll probably get onto, I think Nancy's absolutely spot on that nutrition is huge. And it's a lettuce leaf and not a Coke and a donut.
Right. So interesting that you brought up the whole obesity issue. And I guess if we were thinking about preventing obesity, there certainly is something else that becomes extremely important, and that's exercise, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, you know, in the end, it all comes down to taking in more than you're burning off, and that's the simple thing, and I'm a very simple soul, so that's basically what it is, and I'm sure Nancy has a lot more to say on that area as well, so over to you, Nancy.
Oh, thank you, Sue. Well, yes, Sue and I are on the same page on most things, I would say. It's very nice to have the integrated approach. I recommend 45 minutes most days a week, minimum of 5 days a week, of aerobic exercise, which can include, you know, and again, with as we're aging, getting a little older, you know, loving our joints, loving our bodies, and walking is a simple, free activity that we can all do. We all have a pair of shoes, and hopefully we can get out the door and go for some fresh air for 45 minutes a day. Just brisk enough that you get your heart rate up to a certain point where you can feel yourself breaking into somewhat of a sweat. You don't have to be pouring sweat like a jogger, but you know when your heart rate is up. So just moving your body as best you can. You don't need fancy equipment or gym memberships to get out there, and weight-bearing exercise is another important piece. Would you like to speak to that, Sue?
Well, I think there's some really neat gizmos out there, because, you know, I'm a gizmo person. One of the things, and I think Nancy's absolutely right, but we love to track things, or at least I do. So, you know, I think if you're going to do exercise, it's really good to actually know how much you're doing, and I would recommend everybody getting a pedometer and seeing how far you go. There's also these Fitbits these days that can put on your wrist where you can track your exercise, and that actually links in with other programs like MyFitnessPal, where you can actually track how much you're taking in and out. And I don't know, I mean, you can either just go for a walk and enjoy it, or you can go for a walk and enjoy it and actually come back and work out how much energy you've actually expended and track it day to day. So to me, for exercise, yeah, you've got to do it. I think the other thing that Nancy brought up, which is really important, is the weight-bearing exercises too. I know I've done a couple of silly things in my life and a couple of wonky joints, and I know that I need to do weights or something to keep my muscles strong, to keep those joints from going out all over the place. So I think, you know, a balance of aerobic and weights is ideal, and you can do your weights right into your 90s and beyond. You don't have to be doing 400-pound presses, but a couple of cans will help you.
Yes, I'd like to add a couple of things to what you were saying, Sue. One of the things that I've discovered about getting out and walking is the importance of having company to do that. So I have a fitness partner, and we both know, and we've discussed it many times, but we both know that that little social obligation, when you say that you're going to meet somebody somewhere at 6:30 a.m., you're going to be there.
Yeah.
If you're just all by yourself or even with your spouse, it's really, really, really easy to talk yourself out of it. So the social obligation seems to work for me anyway, really, really well. And the other thing that when you were talking about Fitness Pal, when I started playing with that, it's for those who are not aware, it's a little app that you can put on your smartphone or your tablet. And what I realized and came to realize that by keeping track, encouraged me and made me realize that I had to measure things, because sometimes we can be eating a very, very good diet, but sometimes if we eat too much. So being able to measure and weigh things and keep track is really helpful. So weight bearing, as you said. So what else? I was looking at a few other things. What about water intake? What do you think about that?
Well, water is extremely important. It keeps your cells hydrated. Your kidneys are very happy when they've got lots of water flowing through. And also, water will help to keep you alert as it continues to wash the cells, keep the cells nutrified through carrying the nutrition to the cells. In the water, got a little bit convoluted there. But yes, water is important. And I always recommend a minimum of 1 liter, preferably 2 liters a day. There's a formula, but we won't go into that right now. But if you have a jug on your counter or a water bottle and you know about how many ounces there are in that jug or milliliters, just keep an eye on that. And if it's pretty full and it's noon, it's time to take a few chug-a-lugs there. So that's what I like to do. Then I track it more or less, and ideally that jug's empty by the end of the day.
Well, and I can't help but raise some research that I stumbled on some time ago, and Sue, maybe you could sort of say something about that. But there was a study some years ago about the cognitive reduction that happens when we are dehydrated. And if we want to keep healthy brain and alertness, as Nancy said, that hydration is really, really, really important for our skin and everything else too, right?
Yeah, it is important. I mean, for somebody who spent 40 years putting fluid in through intravenousness and watching urinary catheters and having it coming out the other end and working out whether they're okay, I've got a fairly big experience of this. But, you know, the body does regulate pretty well. But certainly I've noticed when I'm hiking, if I've got one of those camel packs with a constant suck going on rather than stopping every now and then for a drink, I get a lot further and I'll feel a lot better and a lot more energy. And but the caveats is, you know, if you've got heart failure or you're on a fluid restriction for that, or you've got kidney failure, then you ain't going to chug a lug 2 or 3 liters a day. You modify your behavior according to your pathologies. But generally, yeah, I mean, you don't need to overdrink, so you're in the loo every couple of minutes. But certainly taking in an adequate amount is a really good idea.
Yeah, I once read somebody said old age is nothing but dehydration. Okay, so we've talked about nutrition and exercise and water. Oh, what about sleep?
Go for it, Sue. You can take the lead.
Well, I've spent my life putting people to sleep and waking them up, but that's not right? I mean, I know a lot about artificial sleep because I was an anesthesiologist. Didn't mention that before. Oh, it makes a huge difference. Having, within the last couple of years, given up working nights, God, 3 months after I quit working nights, I said to myself, wow, I didn't know you could feel this good. So yeah, ideal sleep. I mean, I'm lucky. I sleep like a log, 7 or 8 hours a night, and then I feel really, really good. And as you get older, certainly being up at night, being disturbed, I don't think you recover as well. So I think we all know that sleep is yeah, if you can get a good night's sleep, it's worth it. Nancy, you're good on this subject.
Well, one good piece that I love about sleep, as I share with my clients, is sleep hygiene, we call it. And it's sleeping in a darkened room, not having a nightlight on, so your body the darkness, we have a circadian rhythm where our body actually follows the cycle of the sun. But ideally, we go to bed in the dark, and that tells our body it's nighttime, it's time to rest. And when we wake up, it's great when the sun is coming up as well, and the body also gets the message it's time to wake up. And if you can go to bed at the same time and get up at the same time as much as possible, your body is the happiest because it does get the rhythm, and that does build good health. Yeah. Can't remember if there's anything else on that sleep. But
well, what about these people that say that there are night owls?
There's always the individualized, yeah, there's the individualized approach, and I will say my daughter and my husband are night owls. I don't get it. But everyone is wired differently, and they do seem to manage to go to bed a couple of hours after I do and to get up at the same time as I do, and they function very well. So.
Yeah, I think there really is a big variation in the amount of sleep folks need. I've known I've known surgeons who last on 4 hours a night and seem to be able to do it forever. We had to be up with them, but that's the point. That's beside the point. Some of us need a lot of sleep. Some can function on very little. It would be great to be able to function on very little because you get more done. But hey, I can't do that. So yeah, you're right, Nancy. There's a lot of variation.
And probably most of us know through life experience. But I found that I've stumbled on a number of women, especially, who are sort of getting older, and they complain about the fact that they can't sleep, and they complain about the impact that it has on them. They get foggy, and their memory gets bad, and there are all kinds of negative results that one gets from not having enough sleep. And so, I mean, one of the things that I've noticed is if I've had a couple or 3 glasses of wine, I'm awake at 4 a.m. I know that.
Yeah, I agree. I'm almost, and that's something that changes with age. I almost don't. I love the stuff. I would love to be able to drink more wine, but if I want to sleep, I can't, and that's true. And the same with coffee. Ding, 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 2 in the morning, I'm awake. So. Yeah, you have to adapt.
So I'm gonna switch it. So we've talked about some of those basic things. We've got about 10 more minutes, and so what I'm wondering is, and especially now that I've got an MD here and a health practitioner here, I'm going to throw this question. Do we need supplements, or is just a darn good nutrition good enough?
This is a juicy topic. I'll pick up the ball on this one right away. Again, everyone's an individual, and we all have different nutritional needs, depending on our lifestyle, our exercise level, our heredity, all kinds of things. And not all supplements are created equal. I know Sue and I agree wholeheartedly on this, but I would like to share that there are good supplements out there, and to really avoid the flavor of the month. I have clients come in my 13 years experience, come in with grocery bags full of supplements that they've purchased here and there for different reasons, guessing, reading an article, oh, this is me, oh, I need that. And we go through it and we talk about it together, and I get them on what I call a good baseline supplementation regimen. And the products I use are pharmaceutical grade. They are standardized, and most vitamins are not. Buyer beware. And I do find that they feel a difference. And long after we've finished our work together, our therapeutic work together, they will continue to contact me so they can continue to take the vitamins because they make such a difference. But again, buyer beware. There's a lot on those shelves where you're not being nutrified on the cellular level. So that's what you really need. And I know Sue has strong feelings on this as well.
Yeah, I mean, Nancy's absolutely right. It's apart from the pharmaceutical grade vitamins, and you can find out which companies give you tested vitamins, you're basically buying chalk. And if you want to go into the placebo, unregulated vitamin world, well, that's fine, but you could use your money for better things. So if you are going to go on any kind of vitamin supplementation, yeah, you've got to get pharmaceutical vitamins, pharmaceutical grade vitamins. But then that really, we toss it out as to what do we need? Lowell Ann made the point of, if you have a healthy diet, do you need any vitamins? And that is a real swamp to start wading into. And there's the example of folate, maybe not for older folks, but, in the days before we supplemented women who were getting pregnant with folate, we saw a lot of kids, a lot of babies being born with spina bifida and meningomyelocele. Now that they're supplemented with folate, the incidence of kids that turn up in the OR with meningomyelocele and spina bifida and hydrocephalus has dropped dramatically. My God, we all want to see that drop dramatically. And I was in Africa a couple of years ago teaching in Rwanda, and where the folate supplement isn't there, and my goodness, there were kids with spina bifida and hydrocephalus everywhere. So that's one that we obviously do need, but there's some others. What else do you think we need, Nancy?
Well, vitamin D is a hot topic. I won't call that a flavor of the month, however. Vitamin D, living in North America in particular, the winter months, we don't get enough sun, and there's even debate that even in the summer, the sun that we do receive is just not quite enough to keep those vitamin D levels where we need them. Vitamin D is great for immunity, bone health. It's actually a hormone. And that's one thing I do believe that we should be supplementing with. And some studies have shown that as we enter into the later months of winter towards February, March, we see more incidence of heart disease, other related diseases, due to the lack of vitamin D in our systems. So it is very important.
Yeah, it's a difficult one, isn't it? But I think also the other thing is there's something out there that maybe vitamin D reduces the incidence of malignancy. That's all a bit iffy, but if it does, hey, all of us want to reduce that. So, that's another option. Lowell Ann, I know you're a vegetarian, so tell us about how you feel about supplementation.
Well, I pay as most vegetarians do, they pay very, very close attention to making certain that they have things balanced out, and in particular for all of the amino acids. They're not all found in all food, and so it's important to be able to sort of know what you're doing there. But one of the things that I learned was that if you don't eat red meat, you actually need extra B12. So I've been using liquid B12, which you put under your tongue. So what's that called? Sublingual or something like that.
Right.
And the interesting thing was that when I found myself using that, I noticed a difference in brain function, because how all of I used to joke and say, when you hit menopause, you lose all your nouns, all your proper and regular nouns, and all you can remember are adverbs and adjectives. Well, and I'm just saying that because how you can be talking along and suddenly the word just disappears. So I noticed a marked difference when I started doing the B12, and that wasn't even the reason I was doing it, but I noticed the difference, and I have read since that one of the things that's being recommended for brain health, to prevent dementia and Alzheimer's and all kinds of things, B12 has been mentioned. So, but that is, it's if you're following a certain kind of diet, a vegan diet or a vegetarian diet or whatever, you really do need to pay attention to what you're taking in. So
I'm pleased you got your nouns back. That's really good that your nouns are back, Lowell Ann. That's great.
Well, they disappear every now and again, and that tells me, oops, I forgot to take my B12.
Your brain food. B vitamins are brain food for sure.
So we had a couple of other questions that came up when we were discussing all of this that I think that might be worth worth chatting about. One question was, how often should we have a full medical checkup? And especially if we're really healthy, as I am. I haven't been sick for 4 years. So how often should somebody go for a checkup?
You take it, Nancy.
No. This is you, Sue.
That's your question, Sue.
Oh, well, I mean, that's a moot point, isn't it? If you're feeling well, heck, why would you go for a checkup? We know that the physicians are pretty pushed these days, but then on the other hand, like myself, I'm the cobbler's children's without the shoes. I never go and see a physician either, and I happened to take a blood pressure a few months ago on a patient, and to find out, because I still occasionally do some anesthesia, and find out that in actual fact my blood pressure was really, really high. So, there are things that you can have that you feel 100% healthy, and then you actually find out, that in fact there might be something going on. So you can always check your BP anyway in the pharmacist. Right. But I would say maybe every year, unless you are feeling something is wrong or something is different, and then go and get yourself checked out. But generally, heck, if you're hale and healthy, just keep going.
Right.
This proactive approach is what we're all about here, I think, on our embracing aging.
And then the other question that we tossed around in the green room was the whole thing about meds. Who should be evaluating them, and what, I mean, I run into a lot of middle to older aged people who are taking a gazillion meds, and you never know. In fact, there was something in the news the other day where a pharmacist didn't catch a conflict. So, what about that? I mean, one of the things that the doctor that was interviewed suggested, and I thought, boy, man, that's a good idea. And this was taking responsibility for yourself and not expecting the system to take care of you. If you are on meds, to keep a list in your purse or in your bag, and whenever you see a health practitioner, to make sure that they see what you're taking, and so you have it with you. And I thought that was a darn good idea. Well, it doesn't apply to me because I don't take anything, but I thought it might be a good idea.
I think the only challenge comes there, and I've seen this over and over and over again, is that especially if you are having beginning cognitive dysfunction, then you're not actually capable of remembering your meds. And if you really take it on your own responsibility, you find that things start to slip and things aren't taken, and then you slide out and you slide down, and it's a difficult challenge. But I agree, sometimes a patient will bring stuff and they'll put a whole, you get a whole basket full, and you think, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It is, it's a challenge, increasingly as you age.
Well, and certainly we're in some future time, I think we all agreed that we were going to spend some time talking about maintaining good mental health, and so maybe we can get into that a little bit more deeply another time. But I see we're coming up on the bottom of the hour, and one of the things that we chatted about before, and I think it's, Sue, you made reference to the fact that our medical system is overtaxed. And so what do we do? And I mean, there's so much out on the internet about alternate versus complementary. I think all of three of us would prefer the term complementary medicine and complementary health. And so, how does one sort of balance all of that out? And I think when we were chatting, I threw out the idea that, well, what about going to a naturopath? And how does that work? And where does it fit in? And Sue, you came up with a really, really good way for us to, a good thought for us to go away with.
Well, I think Nancy should have a quick chat here too, but for me the idea is, I know that the GPs are hugely overworked. It can be very difficult in most countries these days. It isn't one country's challenge to get a general practitioner, And the naturopathic world really looks after maintaining good health. And as I've said, you don't, if you're really, really ill, or you've just had a bad motor accident, you don't go to a naturopath. There's not many naturopathic emergency departments. So, if you're really ill, yeah, then you're going to go to conventional to get fixed up. But there's a huge amount that maybe, just what Nancy does. And over to you, Nancy, to just keep people trimmed, to do the preventative stuff.
Well, I totally agree, Sue. There's definitely, like myself, I have a GP. I'm lucky I've got a GP here in town. And I have a naturopath who I respect immensely. And depending on what's going on, I don't like to be my own caregiver. I often will go to the naturopath even for a second opinion and say, well, I was thinking this, what do you think? And what I love about the naturopathic approach is that it does tend to be proactive, looking more at, okay, preventative. How can we keep this, how can we build your systems or your organs therapeutically in a way that doesn't require that you're going to need a pharmaceutical or you're going to need, that things are going to degenerate. But at the same time, I sure enjoyed being able to, I went to my naturopath and he looked at my ear and said, oh my gosh, yes, you have some excess wax. Why don't we cut back on the dairy? And then I went, he said, and go see your MD to get that blown out. So, hey, it was a perfect combination. There's the integrative medical health care right there. So I think that it's good to have a balance of both.
And I couldn't agree more. I take the same approach. I have a GP and a naturopath and an acupuncturist. And I couldn't live without my acupuncturist. So.
Oh, I'd like to just throw something in on the note of acupuncture. As you know, you both know, I'm a Qigong practitioner as well, a Spring Forest Qigong practitioner. And in all the training I did, all through homeopathics, biotherapeutic drainage, you name it, they all said, and the most powerful thing you can do, Qigong. It is a medical practice. It's acupuncture without needles. So it does, we can get into, really, that could be another topic. But there are also things like yoga, Qigong, various modalities that do also really help to promote good health, promote and maintain good health.
And a lot of them, too, are just really good at putting you in a mindset in a good place. And that's another big subject that we could spend ages talking about is the mindset. And anything you can do to put yourself in a positive mindset is going to be a big positive.
Very good. Yes, getting that stress down.
Taking a positive action, taking charge of your own good health. What better mindset could there be?
You've got it. Loving your life and wanting it to go on as long as possible, feeling alert and like you're making a difference in the world and you have some passion about what you're doing. Purpose.
Right on. So I think we pretty well covered all the things that we wanted to cover, unless there was something that either one of you would like to raise in terms of maintaining good health in our third age.
I think you've done an excellent job, Lowell. Thank you so much for moderating and keeping us on track and leading this. Thank you so much.
Well, it's just such a pleasure. For those of our viewers, the three of us met on the mastermind, didn't we?
Yep.
And we got discussing all the things that we care about in terms of embrace aging, and so I count you both as wonderful colleagues and friends. So this is a perfect example of what we could do with Hangouts, for sure.
And the wonderful thing about Hangouts is you end up searching, because you're always searching for like, and when you end up finding folks, it's just an absolute joy. So that's where we are. We're really lucky with the three of us. There's more out there who will come in and find like.
Well, and I might say that the three of us did chat about maybe bringing the odd person in who has a certain specific interest in a topic that we've decided to talk about. So we'll be looking at that in the future. So what do you say we close now with the idea that maybe next time we'll talk about, what did we decide? Oh, we decided about handling crisis, didn't we? Mm-hmm. So what do we do when a crisis happens?
That will be an interesting conversation.
Yeah. So that'll be a month from now.
Great.
So, Sue, you have a wonderful trip. You are off to India.
Yes.
Yeah.
Doing my retirement dream. And I'm going to blog it. I'm going to video blog it. So if everyone wants to follow my trip to India and Australia, check me out on Live Your Retirement Dream and come along with me.
Oh, I really look forward to that. And Nancy, I know you're headed or you're starting up some new fall programs in the community here. So hope that goes really well for you.
Thank you so much.
So shall we sign off? This is Lowell Ann, the moderator of Mastermind Being Your Own CEO, and the deliverer, well, that's not a word, is it? Facilitator of being your, or Google, Beginner's Google, I'm stumbling, Beginner's Google for Business. So until next time, signing off for now.
Thank you.